Don't shoot videos on green screens at church. Use black screens instead. I've been doing this to shoot church announcements for about 10 years now to make videos that look like this, or this, or this. What I love about black screens is that it is virtually impossible to tell that you are keying out the background. The drop-off is seamless. Now, there are a few limitations, so let's talk about those, and then we'll show you how to produce this effect in the free video editor DaVinci Resolve and also in Adobe Premiere Pro. Okay, so limitation number one when shooting on a black screen is that you cannot wear black. Otherwise, you're just gonna end up being a floating head. Now, normally we would shoot like from the navel up in terms of framing. So this would be fine, but otherwise these black pants would be a no-go. And then the second thing that you need to consider is that you need to use a darker motion background. To help with this, I'm happy to share with you the motion backgrounds that we created for this for free. There are 8 total motion backgrounds, 4 that use this circle design in different colors, and then 4 with these moving lines, also in different colors. Link to downloads in the description. Another great option is the Luminous Pathway Pack from CMG, linked in the description as well. Now, I mentioned not wearing darker colors, specifically black, when shooting against a black screen, which might have you wondering, okay, what about a person with darker skin? Totally possible. We do this. The only thing that you need to be mindful of is that you're just not going to have as much contrast in your scene. For example, here's a video with Pastor Justin, as pale as I am, against the black screen. His complexion is light, the background is dark. Great contrast. Here's another person in our church, darker complexion against darker background. The contrast just doesn't exist in the same way. But this is also true in the inverse. So here's Justin against our wood backdrop. Now we've got light on light, lacking contrast. Here's Calissa on that same backdrop, dark on light, great contrast. So the key is not to just think about what's technically possible, but consider your composition overall, not just with the skin of the subject on camera, but also with the clothes that you're wearing. Here's Justin again on the black screen. His hair and skin tone is light, but he's also wearing a white t-shirt with a light jacket, so really strong contrast. Meanwhile, here's Mel. She's got the light top, but she's also got the dark hair. So there's contrast on her torso, not as much on her hair, but that gets us into lighting. Specifically, we're using these Nan light pavo tubes. And if I reorient myself in this room, what I'll do is I'll put my feet right at the markers that we have. So this is where I would stand if I was filming in this room. So you can see the Nan light pavo tube is this elongated light behind me, and it's acting as our hair light, hitting my hair, creating the separation from the backdrop. But because of its elongated shape, it's also going to be hitting my shoulders as well, creating even additional separation. Now, we did a previous video in this studio where we showed you some of the other Nan light pavo tubes that we're using and everything in the studio, linked in the description. Here is one vertically mounted, turned off. Here is another vertically mounted and turned off. If we were using one of our different backdrops, like let's say the wood backdrop, we'd have these turned on so that the backdrop would be lit separately from me, the subject. Why would we do that? So that I wouldn't be casting a shadow from the key light and the fill light that are lighting me as the subject, and then, kind of by accident, also hitting behind me. Have these lights behind me, and they're separately lighting the backdrop. Perfect. You don't want to do that when you're shooting a black screen though, because you want the black screen to be as dark as possible. So we turn these off. We don't worry about me casting a shadow because we want this to be pure black, basically. For that same reason, we also are shooting with our key light and with our fill light using the egg carton shell little stick-ons that you can put on to direct the light in the exact way that we want it to go. We don't want it spilling and hitting the backdrop at all, so that we can create that perfect blend between the subject and the backdrop. And speaking of that blend, let's jump now into our video editing software. We're gonna jump into DaVinci Resolve, which is free. We're also gonna jump into Adobe Premiere Pro, show you how to blend this together to make it look seamless. We don't use a key. Why? Because I have a problem with any time you can see someone's hair and you can see that little wisp of the key not working perfectly. By doing this, we avoid that altogether. You get the perfect blend. And there are some things to avoid, but our creative director, Tristan, will walk you through all of that.
Hey everybody, I'm Tristan, the creative director. I'm going to start off in Resolve to put our presenter and backgrounds together. So I've got all of our footage here already, and just as I go along, some of this is subjective to your tastes and what looks good to you, but there are also some key principles that you want to use. There's going to be some jumping back and forth between the background and the presenter as we finesse the look, but once you have it, it's a preset forever. So the first thing we're going to do is bring our assets onto the timeline. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab our presenter, bring them down onto the timeline. I'm going to unclick them so that I can, or unlink them so that I can move the footage up onto the second video channel. That way I can drag our animation and bring that underneath. Next thing that we want to do is change the blend mode on this presenter's footage. So we change the composite mode to lighten. You can see it's already starting to interact with the footage a little bit, but we've still got a few more steps to go. We can click that back on just so we don't mess anything up while we're moving around. If we hop into the color tab, first thing we want to do with the footage is convert it from log to Rec 709. Now, if you're filming in Rec 709 already, then you don't have to worry about this. You can skip this step. For us, since we were already shooting in log, we want to convert this into Rec 709 so that we get the right look. So making sure that we've got our presenter selected, we open up our LUTs window. Blackmagic 4.6K film is the conversion LUT we need. We can close this again. Now we can just see a little bit more how this presenter interacts with the background. The next step from there is creating some separation from the background and the presenter. And for that, we're going to click on our clips, or you can click C as a shortcut and go over to our background animation. I'm going to close that out to give us a better view. Now here, we're going to need two nodes. One for some light color correction and the second node for our power window in order to mask out our presenter. So we can right click on our first node and click add node, add serial, or you can click option S as a shortcut. Next thing you need to do is add an alpha output in order to mask out this presenter. So we right click add alpha output. We drag this second node into that. And then from here, we're going to add our mask. So we can hop into the window tab, click on the pen tool, zoom out a little bit, and then from here, we're going to draw a really wide window around the presenter. We can finesse it a little bit more later with these controls down here, but for now, we want a nice wide window so we've got lots of control. Now you can see it's already starting to do something. From here, we're going to play with these controls till we get something that looks nice. Also, we need to invert this. So we click on this, and that inverts our mask. We will then dial up the inside control until it's overlapping with the presenter just a little bit, just about there. We can then dial up the softness just to take off the edge a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then we add a little bit outside just to give it a little bit of forgiveness. Now if we zoom in a bit more, see we're getting a pretty good look already. Next thing we want to do from there is actually hop back into our presenter's color grade so that we can remove a little bit more of this black, which we could do with our color correction. So we'll add another node. The key point being that you're trying to drop the blacks because they're actually interacting with the background a little bit. And so we want to drop that using our color correction. The way I have found best to do this is to hop into the HDR panel. And then using the darks control, we want to isolate the black as much as we can. So to do that, you head into this tab here, which is the zones graph, which is how you can dial in how much control that specific wheel is controlling. And if we click Shift H, we can drag this around until we get all of this more or less picked by our color wheel. Obviously without getting too much of our presenter at the same time. I think that looks pretty good right there. Shift H, turn that off, head back into the color wheels. From here we can drop our color wheels until we start to lose a little bit more of that stuff in the background there. We want it to kind of bottom out a little bit. Now that I've dropped that a bit, it's not as muted black looking, it's more of a true black in the background. Now a note is that because we have masked this person out, and the mask sits right around here, you want to be aware of when your presenter is moving their hands around in a way that is going to intrude with that mask. So just make sure when you have your camera set up and your presenter is speaking, that they keep their hands somewhat to the middle, not doing big, long, wide hand gestures. Another thing to make note of those of you editing in Resolve is that the edit page looks a little bit different than the color page. You'll notice on the edit page that if we let this play through a little bit, some of these backgrounds look like they're popping through a little bit. Whereas on the color page, they aren't popping it through at all. And that just has to do with the way that Resolve processes your image between the different pages. You haven't done anything wrong. It's just a feature of Resolve's design, for better or worse, but your final render will look correct. So if you find yourself noticing that in the edit page, don't fret. It's not going to look like that on the final render. That's just a part of Resolve's design. So now that you have your grade, we can go back into the color page and we can save these as templates for future use. So if we go to Gallery, you can see I've already got my looks saved from before. But if you're saving them for the first time, you, on each of your clips, right click, grab still, and that is now your power grade. You can do the same with the background here. Right click, grab still. So now, say we reset this. We can now drag that on next time we want to use this, and we don't have to finesse anything. It's already set and ready to go. Let's do this again, but in Premiere Pro this time. So we've got all the assets in here already. First thing we want to do is bring our footage onto the timeline. And you'll notice that Premiere Pro has it scaled differently than the timeline that we're on. So we want to right click, scale to frame size. And now our presenter is the right resolution for the timeline. We'll now move this footage up so that we can put our background underneath. Let's take one of our backgrounds, put that underneath. And again, the same as we did in Resolve, change the blend mode to lighten. And you'll see it's already starting to interact with that. Same with Resolve, because we shot in log, we want to convert this footage. So within Lumetri, we'll hop into our basics correction, input LUT, and I know it's 4.6K base for this one. So that's giving us Rec 709. We then want to separate the background a bit. So we'll click on our background and we'll click on our pen tool, zoom out a little bit, and draw a nice wide outline around our presenter. Here's where we can finesse it a little bit. First, we have to invert, drag up the feathering, again, until it overlaps just a little bit. Can turn down the expansion a little bit, just to tighten it up again. Next thing is to color our footage, again, to get these blacks to blend a little bit more. And that's one of the keys of this, is you're trying to drop the blacks so that they blend in with the background. And you're seeing the black from the presenter's footage right now. We want that just to blend a little bit more. So again, in Lumetri, we'll take the blacks and we'll drop that to quite a bit. Yeah, I'm thinking around there. Looks like he's in an unlimited space now, which is the kind of look we're looking for. Let's bring the whites up just a little bit. Overall exposure, I think, could use a little bit. Last thing we need to do is just save all our presets for future use. So the way we do that is for each of these, we have to save the opacity and the Lumetri settings. So for our presenter, with our presenter selected, we would just right click on opacity, save preset. We'll call it presenter opacity. Choose Lumetri, save preset, presenter color. And then with our background, we click on our opacity, right click and save preset, background opacity. And then Lumetri, save preset, background color. That way now when we hop into our effects and our presets, we've got all those presets ready to go next time we need to edit something.
Remember, in the description, we have download links for all of the backdrops that we mentioned that you can download for free and use in this context. And if you want to see all of the things that we use this room for, because we also use it as a podcast studio, we use it with a ton of different backdrops than just this one. We're going to put those videos on the screen right now. Make sure to watch those ones next. And thanks as always for your time, attention, and trust. By the time I've said this, I'm gonna be covered with B-roll anyway, so. Check 1, 2, hey. Welcome to this YouTube video. My name is Brady Shearer, and my friends, they have beards. Salt and pep, salt and pap. Now, there are a few limitations, so let's talk about those, and then we're gonna show you how to produce this, or this, or this. Salt and nothing going on here, not even any salt, just flavorless. A white, flavorless chicken breast, that's who I am.